Well, would you look at all these discounts? Just a big sea of red and buying opportunity. And that's not always the right way to look at a bear market like this. And we're going to talk about that in this video. We're going to chat about what the market dynamics are, why stuff is tanking, how you should be tactfully making money on this. And that doesn't mean just buying the dip, because guess what? You probably thought you were buying the dip way higher than this, but you're not. It keeps going down. So how do you make sure that you're leaning in to this downturn so that you ultimately maximize your gains? I'm the DeFi whale. This is my YouTube channel and my chance to give back. I've made millions in crypto, and it's exact opportunities like these that are going to be able to help you become a millionaire in crypto as well. You just have to do it right. You have to not get emotional. Hopefully you weren't over leveraged and liquidated. Also, it's worth noting that this is not financial advice. These are my opinions only. And let's go ahead and start off. Just to humor me for a second, I want you to look at this horrific downturn that this coin had. Went up and then very quickly just tanked down after it reached a historic high. And what's interesting, this crypto that tanked, you might be noticing that time is actually in 2018. When you zoom out of this horrific rise and fall of how it went up huge and then lowered, that was just a blip. That was just a tiny micro jump compared to what ultimately happened with Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin had this huge bull run and then just what seemed like such a travesty. It just tanked down so quickly in just a few months, it halved its value and more. People thought crypto was over. It kept hovering at these low prices. And then, in essence, if you actually bought at these prices and held on to it, look at what your gains would have been. They would have been humongous. All of this is to say, there's going to be a lot of what seems like negativity in this video. So it's worth pointing out that things aren't always bad in crypto. When you're looking at a downturn like this, it seems like it's the worst thing in the world. Just zoom out. Zoom out and look like what the picture could be. Now, that being said, let's zoom back in, and you could have bought right here and said $11,500. That's my price on Bitcoin, and you would have made out great. But you would have made out much better if you bought at 3,200. And what if you bought a mix along the way? Now, dollar cost averaging is, of course, a strategy, and we're going to talk about that. I've made several videos on dollar cost averaging, so if you're not fully aware, check the link in the bio for that. Let's go ahead and jump, and we're going to look at Ethereum as well. Ethereum has taken a quick downturn, and what seems to be a pretty good buying price, particularly with everything that Ethereum is coming out with. What I like in a downturn, one is to look at the safer assets. The safer assets are those top 10 Bitcoin, Ethereum, even Terra and Avalanche I'm going to throw in there, but I'd like to look away from the microcaps. When I say microcaps, in a potential recession, we're going to go ahead and say these guys may not be around next year. Kadena, people like Kadena may not be around. So it doesn't make sense just to throw in all your money and say, "Hey, this could be, let's get back to the high of 22. So when it goes to $1, I'm going to buy $20,000 worth of this, and I'm going to get a 25x return." This might go to zero. It might go to zero. It might just go away. So let's not look at what the potential outcome could be for microcaps right now. Let's be safe. And one big thing about investing too that is absolutely paramount in a potential recession, when we're looking down the barrel of what is seeming like this horrible downturn, sit on your hands is the phrase that you should remember. When you're thinking about investing, pull your hands away from the keyboard, don't buy, and sit on your hands is normally going to be the right thing to do. And also, don't be afraid to sell. If you want to get out of a position because you're worried about the crypto market going down, don't be afraid to sell. Let's jump into Terra. Terra's been all of the rage lately. And when I say all of the rage, it's because of these highs and lows. Terra jumped up, and then it jumped down a little bit, and people made over double returns at that 50. It was really, really impressive to see Terra jump up to 116 from that 50 when the rest of the market actually had a little bit of a slippage. And Terra showed so much resiliency during that time. And now what we're seeing is Terra tanking faster than anyone. And the drama around Terra Luna, the Terra ecosystem inclusive of UST, the stablecoin, everything is kind of shattering across the board, and it's causing these seismic ripple effects to every single cryptocurrency out there. Let's go into Terra. I want to talk about it a little bit. Right now we're at 93 cents. What? How is this at 93 cents? It's supposed to be a stable coin, you say. It is supposed to be a stable coin. UST is really intricate in terms of how it's positioned with Terra. Please check out my video. I'll put a link to this description as well, and we're going to go into detail on that video on how you can hedge against a UST depeg event, which is an event similar to this that we're watching right here happening right before our eyes. But in that video, what's important is I talk about the relationship between UST and Luna and how either are minted and burned based on what's bought, and how the fees on each actually support the ecosystem as well. And what's important in that video too is it talks about what would happen in a quick bank run. What would happen if everyone got out of Anchor Protocol at the same time? Everyone is not just getting out, it is billions and billions and billions getting out. And let's talk about that just for a quick second. UST is algorithmic. It's going to hold this and supposedly is backed by US dollars, but it is supposed to hold this based on the algorithm, and the algorithm cannot handle right now. It can't handle this unprecedented bank run. It wouldn't be able to hold up, and it's not holding up. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to come back. Let's zoom out a little bit. UST has historically held on very strong. We're going to zoom out a year. When you zoom out a year, you can see this little blip here. It handled something similar and was able to get back to where it was originally. And when that happened, UST and the Terra team basically said, hey, don't worry about this because we put in protections to prevent against this. And I'm sure they did, but they still can't handle what happened on May in 2021. They can't handle what happened a year later, May in 2022. This bank run is unprecedented, and this recession is unprecedented. So I want to also go over, if we can go back into Terra, let's look and see, if we zoom in a little bit, how this is all shaked out. It happened to be a pretty quick downturn. And as Terra's price started to fall, people started believing less in the Anchor Protocol ecosystem. The rates dropped down, and so people also are less incentivized to keep their stable coins in there. And if you're working to get 20% a year on this, they also increase their deposit APY probably to combat some of this slippage that they're seeing. And just to note, that's also going to help them. If people can be more incentivized to get in right now, that's probably a pretty good idea. What we should also talk about too is what a depeg event actually looks like. And if you bought insurance, will you be getting that insurance back? No, your insurance will only kick in if it gets to 88 cents and stays at 88 cents or lower for 2 weeks. If you bought insurance, you might actually be happy because you're going to be getting some payout. If now is when the decentralized insurance companies are actually put to the test. In my opinion, I think they'll work if you chose a reputable one. Again, check the link in the description. I talk a little bit about this in more detail. And let's also talk about Avalanche. We've gone over Avalanche a lot in this video, and we're going to use Avalanche to talk about how you might want to be thinking about trading in this kind of market, in this kind of recession. Because what is really cool about Avalanche is it's a highly successful, highly operative. The way Avalanche just performs in general is amazing. And I don't care if you buy Avalanche. I could care less. You could buy whatever you want. It's not going to make a difference in the market. So I'm not going to, shill. I'm just saying it's a really great technology, right? And that's why it's risen to the level it has. It's risen to be a top 10 contender. Avalanche, Terra, Ethereum, Bitcoin are all amazing projects. Ethereum and Bitcoin are the ones that have gained by and far the largest potential, the largest market caps. And hopefully, one day you get to see something like Avalanche compete, and then that's where you get to see some really good gains. And let's zoom out a little bit on Avalanche, because this is where I really want to get to. You're looking at these prices. If you started investing, a year ago, you've always known Avalanche is this $47 minimum currency. Well, guess what? It got to 138, and now we're right back down at $44. We saw that rise and fall. And where this really kind of breaks down, if you're trying to dollar cost average, I want you to remember this. I want you to remember what AVAX used to be. There were people, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars that were owned when AVAX was $3, when AVAX was $4, $2, $5, whatever it was. Let's say you owned $100,000 of AVAX at that point, and maybe you didn't take your chips off the table when AVAX got to 100, because that seems unreasonable. Why would you not take those gains? But in actuality, if you're in this situation too, and you're seeing this just non-stop huge rise in price, you might have given yourself a price target of 200. Then it slips and you say, dang, maybe I should have taken the chips off the table. You jumps up again and you say, never mind, 200, we're going to the moon. And you get greedy. Greed is often what kills people in crypto. And now those that are at that position of $3, they're over here watching the price tumble as fast as it possibly can down to the ground, and they say, I don't want it, I need gains. So you can take, if you bought $100,000 of AVAX here, well, you're still over 10x. You're still up so much. So you go ahead and take your millions. You go ahead and cash out right now. Even if you sold out a little bit, let's say you sold 50% here, you might be still saying, let me sell my other 50% right here because it's not that 30x return, but it's a 10x return. I'm going to go ahead and take that. The reason I'm saying this, because all of you that are watching this, you don't have AVAX when it was $3. You didn't buy it then. You weren't in crypto before. Most people weren't even in crypto before COVID, it seems like. And we're going to talk about that a little bit too. But during the stretch of COVID, 2021 came, you had the dip, and then everything exploded at the same exact time. But the people that were in early might still be wanting to sell. So if you're asking yourself who is selling at this point, there's a lot of people left that still stand to make gains. Now, this could still go up if people see this as a buying opportunity, but there's so much going on in the world where it's all negative. And what's interesting about this current environment is the negativity isn't that light at the end of the tunnel where you would say, oh, like this is going to go back up because of reasons X, Y, and Z. In actuality, what's going on right now in the world is you have interest rates that are going to continue rising over the course of the year. That's not an assumption. That is what the Fed is saying. The federal government is saying interest rates are going to continue rising over the course of the year, not just in the US, in several countries, many countries across the world. That's happening. As you know, crypto is global. And one of the largest countries that is holders of crypto is the United States. So it does make sense that the United States should be referenced in this case. And what we should also look at too is there's a war going on. Oil prices are being affected and going up to rates that we would have never predicted they're at. And then on top of that, we're seeing this inflation that we're having trouble combating. Prices on goods across the globe are up. There's issues with supply. It's kind of this whole trifecta where there's like four bubbles going on at the same time. Housing prices are at the all-time high. So we could be in a housing bubble, we could be in a crypto bubble, we could be in an equities bubble. Because when you look at actually the stock market too, and we can go ahead and jump into the stock market. Let's ping over to this just for a second so we can see what we're looking at. In the past 6 months, the S&P has taken a huge hit, down over 14%. May not seem like a lot in crypto, but when you look at an index like S&P 500, this is supposed to be representative of the market, and it's down 14%, which is a ton. In crypto, you can be down and up 14% in a single day. This is a really big hit. The fact that we went down below 4,000 today is really, really crazy. And we might keep going down. In fact, it's probable that we'll continue going down because let's zoom out. In the past year, we're closer to about even, right? We're only down 4.7%. Doesn't look as bad. I want to zoom out again and just prepare for this. It looks like we've barely fallen. We've barely taken a tumble. So if you think about what the full overcorrection could be, the full overcorrection could be back down to 3,300, 3,500, which would mean that would happen in a short period of time, relatively short period of time. And we could tank over the next 5 months. If the market goes down that fast, if the market goes down that much, what do you think is going to happen to Avalanche? What do you think is going to happen to Terra? What do you think is going to happen to Ethereum, Bitcoin? What's going to happen is those prices are going to be amazing buying opportunities. So if you want to lean in right now, I say go for it. If you want to buy a little bit of Terra at 43, this sell-off most likely won't kill Terra. It could. It could kill Terra, but it most likely won't. And in that time, as Terra drops, you'll be okay because in the back of your head, you'll say, I didn't buy Terra to sell it at $10. I bought it to sell it when it gets back to 100. I'm trying to over double the money that I have. And that's probable. It might take you a little over a year if Terra doesn't see the rally that we would want it to. And that's okay. But how much sweeter would it be if Terra got back down to these $5, $6 levels? What if Terra got back to where it was in the beginning, in the middle of 2021? Which, take a second, just look at your phone or your computer or wherever you're watching this from and think, how long ago was 2021? 2021 just happened. A lot happened in the course of less than a year since Terra was at these super low than you would think are unfathomable to go back down to this level. But it's very, very possible. As quickly as the market rose, the market can fall. When we're talking about the market in full, we're also going to want to go over it. Let's check out an actual stock company because I think this is very, very, very interesting. We're looking at here DigitalOcean Holdings, and whatever your market is, and if you're super into crypto and that's why you're here, I want you to humor me for a second and stay on and listen to this because think about crypto, right? And whatever your bullish stance is on crypto and how much you believe in the decentralized market, we don't know what's going to happen in crypto if we get into a full-blown recession because this is not a recession. This is not considered a life-ending recession. This is not the worst thing that we've ever seen. It's okay. If we bounce back from this, some people took a little bit of a dip and it's not the end of the world. But if we get into a full-blown recession, we haven't yet seen crypto tested in that market yet. Even if you go back into Bitcoin, we're stretched back all here. We go all the way back. Oh, see, my computer's breaking when I try to go back. Even if you try and go back, Bitcoin, when it was worth pennies, even during 2008, what happens then? It's hard to know what's going to happen to altcoins during that time. That's why I believe investing in Bitcoin, investing in Ethereum are the safer options. Investing in Avalanche, investing in Terra are second on that list. Right now, even putting all of your stable coins does not feel very safe. Putting stable coins into some high yielding protocol, probably stay away from. That's a lot of what a lot of people have been talking about. Near's protocol, they're coming out with 30% APY, and they're coming out with a new stable coin. I gotta tell you, Near protocol, that's bad timing for you to come out with that because people aren't super jazzed about these kind of protocols right now. They were, but you kind of missed your shot coming out with it right now. Now, let's go back. I want to continue on this. Again, humor me on this. When you look at an actual stock, doesn't this drop seem like a cryptocurrency drop? Doesn't this seem like a drop that you would expect in a super volatile crypto market? You're also seeing it in some of these stocks. Digital Holdings, so my background is a developer. I'm a software engineer at heart. And so I'm drawn to digital holdings as a company. I like their product as a developer. I like what they do. And their stock is actually a very impressive company, and they've been continuing to grow, but they're still seeing this huge drop, mainly because of what their multiples are. It's their sales multiple. That's the feeling. That's the same sentiment that people have about crypto, right? People invest in crypto because they have the sentiment that it's going to go up and they like the utility of it. The multiple of the stock is kind of the same way, loosely, right? But you think about it's the sentiment of how they're going to continue to grow, and that's why you invest in it, because you think they're going to continue getting this continuous growth. And digital holdings, DigitalOcean has had that growth, and they've still fallen along with the market. Just how all of tech has been slammed in the market. But what's interesting is if you're looking for a potential gain that can get you that 32 to 129, you're looking right now, you're like, I'm investing in crypto because that's where all the gains are. And I want to go from 44 to 128. I totally get it. What I also want you to consider is that crypto is not the only investing vehicle. If it's part of your portfolio, go ahead and skip forward a minute. But if it's your only investment vehicle, I want you to just consider the option of investing in a stock that is driving real revenues. As much as you love and hate crypto and don't like the people that bash it, I get it. I get it. But if you're actually looking to be super safe, if you go into a company that is down 16% over the course of the year. This is when they IPO'd, by the way. So they haven't been out. Oh, wait. Maybe they have been out. Okay. A year and like a day. So they've been out for not too long. Had a super quick within a first year. They tripled. They jumped up. I personally invested along this time right here, and I tripled my investment very quickly. I sold it right before the top. So I had a really good run with this, and I got really lucky that it tanked. And I'll be personally buying. Again, it's not financial advice, but that's what I'm going to do based off of my experience. And again, I'm not going to just put all my money into a company like this. I'm going to start leaning in, just like I would crypto. But I feel safer about leaning in to a company that's driving a lot of revenue, that has a really strong growth rate, has great lock-in. They've got everything going for it relative to, you have to have some real utility built around these DeFi ecosystems for them to gain traction and to become that Ethereum killer that we want them to be. Because that's where you get those massive, massive gains. Cryptocurrency has this huge potential to make a lot of money. If you're holding ADA, don't listen, by the way. If you're in CoinMarketCap, don't ever look at these chats. Like, they're the most ridiculous things. This is just a full side note, but like, they completely ignore. Don't read these. These are ridiculous. They're people just shilling and don't know what they're talking about. Stick to people that you trust, right? Follow me on Twitter, by the way, because I'm going to post certain things that you should really, really look into. And I'm going to go back into this Terra USD and talk. I'm just going to refresh the page. Let's see if something happened. Just out of curiosity. We've been doing this. We've been talking for like 20 minutes here straight. Just going to refresh. 9288. Wow. 20 minutes. 91 cents. It doesn't seem like a lot, but that tanked really quickly. There's a lot going on in crypto right now that doesn't look super great. Let's talk for a second. What happens if UST goes down? Whoa, did you guys see that? I missed that. 89 cents, 89.65. It keeps dropping. Okay, let's talk for a second. If UST goes down, you might be saying, well, that's a big chunk of Terra that goes down. Not fully correct. Terra is going to get slaughtered if UST goes down. Absolutely destroyed. But if UST goes down, Terra gets slaughtered. AVAX sentiment is going to be lower too, because the aggregate sentiment, the aggregate belief in the ecosystem, in the crypto ecosystem, is going to go down. People are going to feel less confident about the ecosystem of all of crypto, and people are going to start pulling their money out. Further, people that also put their money into something like Terra, that would have maybe transferred it over to AVAX, boom, that money's gone. They just tanked because you don't want to see a stablecoin talk about down 10% in a single day. And granted, it might just pop back up. And then hopefully a year from now, we're looking at this as the dip on May 9th, 2022, and we'll talk about what happened and how it rebounded. I hope that's what happens. And most likely that is what will happen. Most likely, talk about, not reading these. There is a possibility that the algorithm catches up with the market. I wouldn't say your money is safe. I would say it probably is worth it to be a little bit worried. And I almost didn't mention this because I didn't tweet it out, but I did transfer all of my UST yesterday. I didn't have insurance on it, so I got a little bit nervous and I transferred it all to a centralized stablecoin. Again, I didn't tweet it out, and I'm kicking myself for that because I got lucky that was right, and I just completely gapped to not tweet it. Normally, I tweet all my trades, especially big ones that like that. And I follow me on Twitter. Normally, I get those right. I just apologize for those of you guys who are watching this and already follow me on Twitter. Anyways, back to the market. It can fall as quickly as it rose. So don't get zoned in on this past year and that we're at the all-time low. The market's much different than it was last year. When crypto got, we're looking at Bitcoin, right? That's our crypto juggernaut. That's what we all, we can point to as like people that became millionaires off of crypto. $29,800 was the all-time low, and then it just shot up. But the market was much different back then. At that point in time, the government was pumping money into the economy still. We didn't, the federal government mentioned that it was a transitory environment we had where we weren't as worried about inflation. General market was continuing to go up. We didn't have a war going on. Oil prices were stable. Nothing that we're worried about now was happening at that point in time. And then at this point in time, we said, "Oh, look at this! We're going to launch crypto ETFs." ETFs rose, sentiment jumps up for crypto, and because there's a new vehicle, it should have jumped up, and it did. So that's what we're seeing here in this giant rise up, and then as it tanks down to where we're at now, we don't have those same factors. We don't have those same catalysts for potential growth on the horizon. We do have catalysts for drop. We do we do have the potential to fall. There's a lot of warning signs and not a lot of stuff that says that we're going to make money over the coming months, over the coming year even. So there's still ways for us to make money. We just have to sit on our hands, be safe. If you want to short crypto, I've got a video on that too. If you're not subscribed already and you stuck around this far in the video, I mean, you got to subscribe. You obviously at least are engaged by this video, engaged by the DeFi Whale content. So you should, in fact, subscribe. And if this video was helpful for you, please drop a like. And we're going to get through this down market together. Until next time, peace out, guppies.